Today's video is sponsored by Cove. Vegan cheese, plant-based cheese. It's something that's really hard to just nail down. Now there's a load of different vegan cheeses on the market, and honestly they just keep getting better and better. But I wanted to show you a very incredibly simple, easy way to make a plant-based cheese, almost like spread, that you can use and flavor, just use it as a base to make loads of different types of cheeses. This vegan cheese base is so incredibly easy, and it's 2 ingredients. Now with this 2 ingredient cheese, you can use it just exactly how it is, but I do recommend flavoring it up a little bit, adding a little bit of salt, making it 3 ingredients. You can add some nutritional yeast, making it 4 ingredients. You can really kind of endlessly use this cheese base, this kind of like curd-like base, to make loads of different cheeses. Now let's get moving. This is gonna be so quick, so simple, so easy. You are going to love this plant-based cheese. Let's do it. So for the base of this cheese, we have 2 ingredients. We have a pea protein milk. Now I'm very specifically using this pea protein milk because of the level of protein that is in it. I believe cashew milk might have a decent amount of protein, so you could probably swap that out with this and come up with something very similar. And then we're also gonna be using lemon juice. You could use fresh lemons. I just like to use this because we're gonna be using quite a bit, and I want a pretty clean, just basic, straight, pure lemon juice. Now to make this base, you really don't get much simpler. This is gonna be so easy. Florida rain really just kicked in, really kicked up the noise level, so I hope you don't hear the rain here. So we're just gonna use 1 liter of the pea protein milk. So we're about 1,000 milliliters, or roughly a little over 4 cups. We're gonna heat this on a very low heat up to about 160 degrees Fahrenheit. Then I'm just gonna get my lemon mixture ready, which is just gonna be about 1 tablespoon water and 3 tablespoons lemon juice. Now while we're bringing this up to temperature, just make sure you continue stirring, because this plant-based milk will make a skin. You will start to get like just like the soy milk develops the soy skin, this pea protein milk will also develop a skin, and you don't want that. So you kind of want to just keep this in a constant motion. And we're almost there. This goes up to temperature really quickly. Now this mixture here, this is gonna do a few things. This is gonna help us create the consistency of this cheese, but it's also gonna help us flavor it. Just like we use a lactic acid to make a vegan cheese flavor, to give it that sharpness, the lemon juice is gonna give this its sharpness. It's really cool the way it works. Hey gang, let me tell you a little bit about today's sponsor, Cove. Now you all know that I use the Cove headphones, I use them to edit, but lately I have been using the Cove Commuter 2. This thing is awesome, and I've been using it for a little while now, and I'm telling you, this speaker gets loud. Check this out. I just connect my Bluetooth and let this thing blast. It is amazing. I use it here in the office when I'm listening to music. I use it out in the kitchen. I use it on my patio. Monica and I have been taking this to friends for social distance gatherings and kind of using it for music just out on the street. This thing is incredible. I am loving this speaker. It's really nice when you're on the go and you just want to break away from the headphones. But what really makes this stand apart from the rest is this. When they're combined, they create a 360 surround sound-like effect. But when you separate them, it is a perfect left and right stereo sound. It's like getting 2 speakers for the price of 1. I love these things. I can usually run it on a single charge. It will last around 7 hours. It's water resistant, has a built-in microphone so you can take your calls, and has a range of about 30 feet so you can walk away. So make sure you click the link in the description below and use code SAUCE64. That's gonna get you 64% off of the Commuter 2. Thanks Cove for sponsoring today's video. So just like you see like a plant-based milk split when you make a coffee, how it separates and curdles up, we're essentially doing the same thing here. So we're getting the plant-based milk up to the 160 degrees where it's gonna react with the acidity and split and curdle. This is a really cool process, and a very similar process to how you would make tofu. Okay, so we just hit the 160 degree mark. I'm gonna continue stirring. We're gonna remove it. We're gonna turn the heat off. And then all we're gonna do is we're gonna take our lemon mixture here, and then we're just going to pour, using the spoon as kind of like your splatter guard. Make sure it gets really well mixed in there. It should be mixed through pretty good, and you'll start to see little bits of curdling fairly quick. So at this point, we're just going to let this sit. We're gonna let that curdle up really, really nice. Let's give it about 10-15 minutes and we'll jump back to this. Okay, so this has sat for about 15 minutes or so. It's looking awesome. These curds have separated perfectly. So at this point, everything's separated. We just have a strainer. It is, I don't know if you can hear this thunder right now, but this is wild. So we just have the strainer. We're gonna use some cheesecloth. Now I'm only gonna use, I think, 2 layers of cheesecloth. I think it's, might be all I got left here. And then all we're going to do is just slowly pour this curd mixture into the cheesecloth. You can see just by kind of rolling this around, we're slowly getting rid of some of that liquid. So at this point, I'm just gonna kind of bunch up the ends and just slowly kind of twist out, let some of this water drain. Now we're not trying to strain out everything because we'll end up just straining those curds through, and we don't want to do that. We just want the water to just naturally roll off. If you lose some of the curds, it's okay. Let's open up this cheesecloth again. And I'm just gonna give this a sprinkle of salt on the top. We're just gonna let this hang out for about 20 minutes to about 30 minutes or so. So let's let this sit. So at this point, you know, this has been sitting, and this is where we have a pretty good cheese spread almost. You could throw this in the refrigerator. It'll give you a really nice cheese spread the next day. Has that sourness, that bitterness. It's really good. This is a really good cheese just on its own. But we don't have to stop here. This is just the base. This base can be used exactly how it is, 2 ingredients plus salt. But let's flavor it up. Let's turn this into like a stretchy cheese to use for a macaroni and cheese, or even like a cheese dip. You can throw some peppers in it and make it like a nacho cheese dip. So I'm just gonna move this mixture over to a saucepan really quick. Now, if we wanna make this like a stretchy white cheese, I'm gonna add about 1.5 tablespoons of potato starch and about 1 tablespoon of cornstarch. And then I'm just gonna use a heavy-handled whisk really quick and just whisk these starches in to make sure they don't have any clumps or anything like that. It's gonna just kind of smooth this out, make this like a nice, smooth cheese mixture. And it's pretty amazing. It's pretty dramatic where this texture goes from here. Now, all I want to do is just do a very, very low heat, very quickly. We're not going to be doing that long, and we're just going to whisk this in until that texture starts to thicken up just a touch. I'm also cooking some macaroni in the background so you can see where this is going. Now at this point, you could probably add some kappa carrageenan. Stir that in, get that into the refrigerator and let it firm up, and you end up with firm sliceable cheeses. Now I'm gonna use a little bit of annatto. This is gonna give us a little bit of coloring, not much, you don't need a whole lot. Also gonna add in a touch of smoked paprika, a little bit of garlic, not much again. And then since we're doing a mac and cheese and we want this to be a little cheddary, let's add about 3 teaspoons of nutritional yeast. I'm gonna bring this back onto just a really low heat again. Now, if you wanted to, at this point, you have a monster, indistinguishable cheese sauce that you could make, serve to your guests. They'll have no idea this isn't cheese. I mean, nobody would know this isn't cheese. Now, the one thing that I didn't throw in here that I did throw in my test is a little bit of olive oil. I think that really definitely gave it a nice cheddary kind of touch. So really, there's a ton that you could do with this stuff, but I just have some macaronis. And then here it is, the creamiest vegan mac and cheese you've ever had. This is perfect, just perfect. Now this is really, really simplified. You could really upgrade the flavors. You can go really far with it. But just how it is, you have a legitimately creamy macaroni and cheese, which, like I said, that 2 ingredient base could be thrown in the fridge, firmed up and used as like a cracker or a spread. It could be used on a bagel like cream cheese. This stuff's amazing. I can't wait till you all make it. Hey, Bubba.